say hello, connect with you, and thank you for if you have joined and watching this one. Hello, this video is for my very special followers who don't mind hearing a bit of a chat. I've been missing in action for a few weeks because we had health scares with little Aura and took her to the vet, got kind of health, got the results, and she's got heart disease, so she's now on heart medication, and also she really needed some big dental work, and so we had to have her have a heart echo yesterday and to find out what's the health and everything going on with her heart. Is she okay to go under anesthetic and have her teeth done, which will be happening next week? But because all of that is so expensive, around $5,000 for those two things, for the heart checkup and the dental work. So it's actually sent me into action. So sometimes that can be good when you're kind of stressed or in grief, sometimes, or wanting to create. Crisis can send you there, whether you know something you didn't realize was coming up. So that's what's happened in recent weeks. At one point we thought we were going to lose her, and then we realized no, actually we can do these things and she has a good chance of having a longer life with us, and to just realize how much she is loved has been huge. Our whole family just loves this little being. Dogs are just, I don't know, like little earth angels with fur. The way they just can be so devoted to you, and what else can you do but do everything you can to look after them back? It's a very special heart space and bond that has been created between us. So I have been making little paintings with Aura in them and selling them to pay the vet bills, which has actually been a really beautiful thing. A beautiful thing to be able to share the joy and the love that she brings through my creativity. So, and in the midst of this, Aime McNee's book came out, and I was sent a copy, and for which I am so grateful. Listening to Aime for the last year or two and following her on Instagram has really it's really brought home to me some really, sad sort of limiting beliefs and fears and things that I have had running the show. And then, as you know, if you've been following along, I've been doing some IFS therapy. So between IFS therapy, reading Aime's book, it's been really lovely it's like having support coming in from external sources, opposite to the world or society's idea that being an artist is kind of a bit ridiculous. I realized I've had that belief, especially in recent times. I think I've realized it's such a challenge with being an artist. If you're not making a sort of like a decent income, you start to really question, should you even be doing it at all? You are wasting time and resources. You need to go and get a regular job. But when you've been doing art for a long time and you're working at that craft, that is your job. That is your job. And I think that's what I'm just so appreciating in what Aime's saying. Elizabeth Gilbert says things like, don't make your creativity pay the rent. And I get that. But what if it needs to? What if you're in a position where a regular job isn't as accessible? It's not available when you move to a different place or whatever. You don't have those immediate skills and the resume required to go and get the regular job. And so you have to then turn back around and believe in yourself and make your creativity pay some bills. And that's what's happened, and I've experienced it just in recent times. And it's been wonderful and uncomfortable, like all of it. And so you know, I guess I'm just sharing with you that I'm in the midst of that process, observing what our life circumstances has been doing inside of me to call forth some strengths that maybe I didn't have, I didn't know I had, and shattering some of those beliefs because they're not working and they're not helpful. So yeah, I've just come to the chapter on procrastination, and it was so beautiful to read this one, because procrastination, you know, is based in fear that we're not going to get it right. There's parts of us that has been so damaged along the way that you become scared to even try a thing if you're not going to get it perfect, and that's so sad. And so I'm really appreciating the coaching, I suppose, with Amy has pushed her way through all of that years of depression and difficulty and not having the income from her art, but still persisting and following it through. And now look at her, she's traveling around the world at the moment on her book launch, and that is so beautiful to witness. And she's as vulnerable and raw and real as ever, and I love her. I just love her for that. She's gorgeous. So I read a part in here, you know, she's talking about with the procrastination, it's about rebuilding trust that we are going to show up for ourselves. I'm wondering if there's a piece I might read out. When you procrastinate, you deserve compassion. You are the sort of person who shows up for your art, but that doesn't mean you won't procrastinate. How you treat yourself when you eventually screw up is the crucial end of chapter conversation. We've already discussed it a bit in the 2-week reset challenge, but this isn't the sort of thing that should be said only once. A lot of people won't commit to their creativity because they are so afraid of how they will treat themselves when they fail, procrastinate or disappoint themselves. They are so terrified of the way they treat themselves when they fail, they end up living an artless life. When you procrastinate, you deserve compassion. That's a rebellious and revolutionary sentence. We perform better when we are treated compassionately. We perform worse when we are treated worse. Stop pretending that the tirades your inner critic goes on when you procrastinate are useful. They are detrimental. They are making you a worse artist. You don't deserve them. I mother myself when I procrastinate. I treat myself like a tiny baby child, and it works. Jerry Seinfeld famously does this too. That's not to say I don't get frustrated. I do, but I recover with a mothering voice. And I can relate to that in the way with IFS. You are aware of the protectors and the managers and the exiled one that's in pain, and it's often those managers that are coming in like a critic and worried and wanting to fix and all of the things that we attribute to the inner critic. And then instead that mothering voice is like self energy, but it's a lovely way to put it, that mothering the self, to be a very loving mother to yourself. And again, I think little Aura has been reminding me, because I'm a loving mother to her, and just holding her to my chest, to my heart, this little fur being, just sort of like creates this beautiful little vortex of love that she's giving me, I'm giving her. It's really beautiful. And so I can use that in my creative practice. You know, how would I treat Aura? How would I treat a little child? How would I treat my own children that I really, really love? How then would you treat yourself? So anyway, that's me chatting with my cup of tea this morning. I'll stop now and drink it while it's hot. But I wanted to let you know that I am very aware that I've let my vlogs go at this moment, because I'm trying to get some work done for an art fair, and the deadline of mid-April is coming up. And I'm not a speedy painter, I've realized, you know. In an imaginary me, I would have a huge big shed and I could just splash paint around, but I'm not in that environment or headspace. And so I've got to work with where I am, I've got to work with what I've got. So I'd love to share some of that with you as well. But then I have to get around to editing it and putting it together and putting it in sequence. So that's what I'm finding. I don't have the bandwidth or organizational time right now, but I wanted to just say hello, connect with you, and thank you for if you have joined and watching this one. I really appreciate you following along, being along with me on my art journey, and I hope you're going okay with yours as well, or going well, going however you're going, but treating yourself with self-compassion about it. Okay, see you next time. Bye. Can you believe the cuteness? The cuteness of this girl. You're so sweet, Aura. You're the best girl. I thought it might be nice actually, before these go, for me to chat about them and what I love about each one, because I'm in the process of trying to figure out this whole still life thing. So let's have a go. I'll start with this one because I know I have a direct photo that I worked from. So this is the one I did first. And I used a fine white pen on the black to do the metal kind of pattern. And this one I used a metallic kind of paint, and then used a sharp tool to carve out the pattern. So there was a little bit of difference to those. And Aura became a little smaller there. Maybe a tiny bit more green could go in that plant. Oh, and the plate was bigger here, a little smaller, but I loved putting these little flowers on it. That made a difference. I think the black fork looks more dramatic. So they're all just little ideas of design elements of differences that they made. So I think I like this one better. And these came kind of early in the piece. This one came first, and I realized I needed a little bit more space behind. I was working from a photo, so then I made little cupboards. So that one kind of looked a little bit more in perspective. Sorry, Aura. Do you want to sit there? Do you want to sit here and be with me? She wants to be with me. Okay. So they look quite nice. Oh, I think this is working well. I tried to do gingham. That didn't really work. I like these separated though. Just see how little differences, what they bring. Quite a lot of colour, so your eye moves around. I like that. Now these are actually then, from there, I did these three. So using again, once I had the idea of the shelf behind, I went again with the shelf behind and did these ones. I like the colour palette there. It's kind of a fresh, it reminds me of like a summer house or beach house or something with all those sea kind of colours. And then I was getting into doing these little kind of like ginger jars. They came into my mind to just do a whole bunch of ginger jars. Flowers. Loving bringing in more flowers. I really liked that. So then these flowers started coming in. Can't remember which came first with the flowers, but so they're bringing the flowers in. I really liked that. I love this contrast, this bright blue here. Lovely. Okay. So then these ones are quite celebrating the flowers. They're all kind of similar, couple of chairs, similar height of the table. So these ones I think work really well as well. And I noticed this color palette. Really love this color palette. Love this toast and butter. Really love this. It's gorgeous. Oh, I'm gonna miss that one. I think I'm keeping this one. Reminds me of my daughter Alex, and I liked all the little bits of features in here and her hiding behind the flowers. And Alex has made some candle holders that are quite like this, so I thought this one will be a good one I can keep to remind me to bounce off again and maybe do some more. This was an earlier piece again I did with the last batch, and I kept this one at Christmas time and gave one each to my daughters. So I'm keeping that one as well. And then there's, okay, so then there's, yeah, the flowers are sort of getting bigger and bigger, and this one bouncing off this one, borrowing the teapot from this one. So it's been quite lovely kind of working in this series and how they're all kind of speaking to each other. And then there's that one. More of those pillar candles. And this one. I don't know why I did that. I think I had this colour. There was already some marks on the little board, and I just sort of made the table and went like that. But the chair's a tiny bit wonky, but you get away with it in this tiny sort of, and there's a lot other things to have your eye go and look at. And then there was just sort of a blank wall, so I did these two little drawings to put on the wall. I drew them onto this. But, you know, you could do little collage, stick little collage on there. I really love this ornate pillared bowl of pears. I really love that. Yeah, so that one's looking, I quite love that too. Look at Laura sitting here. I forgot about this little one. I had this painting. This is one of my business cards that I did a while back from this painting. And I was just looking at the card and how it's little and cute, and had the idea to create this one. So that's why that one came out of the blue a little bit different. But yeah, quite love it as well. Might be fun to do some more, a bit like that. I liked showing the whole little one instead of just her peeking over the table. So that was fun. Well, that ended up being longer than anticipated, and I did find some yummy pictures to share with you of my little paintings of Aura. I've just got one left of that batch, so that's available. They're 100 Australian dollars for a little original painting. And I will be doing some more in the coming weeks because of a necessity to pay my next big vet bill. But gosh, they're bringing me joy. So yeah, if you have little ideas of things I could pop in the paintings, feel free to let me know in the comments, because I think I need to keep going at this and actually do quite a number. As you can imagine, it takes quite a number of little paintings to add up to $5,000. And the other thing about today's video was sharing Amy's book. I'm just so, I want to say, proud of her. I met Amy and James when I just recently moved to Sydney. So I've been here, I don't know, coming up 2 years in July.
So not long having moved here, um, Amy and James, they were living in the UK, I think, by then, and they were out in Sydney visiting family, and they did a little workshop in the city. And so I thought, I need to go. I need to go because I had been listening to their podcast and seeing Amy's inspired to write wonderful posts on Instagram a friend had shared with me, and I just ate them up every day. And so I thought that'd be really fun to go and meet this Amy McNee. So I went along, and actually I met a lady outside, Angarad. She is an author. And then inside at my table, I also met Cindy, who's a photographer. And both those beautiful women have become friends of mine through meeting at Amy's event. So I have such a soft spot for Amy and James. I think they are beautiful humans. And if you listen to their podcast, the banter and connection that they share, and the natural way that they talk together and share with us through the podcast is unlike any other that I know of. Amy swears like a trooper, which I'm known to do as well. I'm very comfortable with salty language. So yeah, but this book, I think she was asked to tone it down, so she has replaced one of her favourite words all the way through the book, which I was a tiny bit disappointed about, to be honest, because I think the Australian audience would have been very happy with the original word. But, you know, I understand there are some people that are not as happy with colourful language like that. So anyway, that's just my personal preference. And so, yeah, I really highly recommend this book. It's an absolute gift to us artists and creatives. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me here today. And you're in my mind, my little YouTube audience. And so I hope to come back a little bit more regularly soon and share with you some of the work that I'm making toward the art fair that's in May. I can't remember the exact date, so I'll have to put them below in the description. Okay. Bye.